Okay, well, I'm back now, and we shift into the second part of the October 6th success session. This is very important now. We're going to introduce you to the program of study, templates, requirements for an SC4 degree, which will help you then decide what classes to take. Now, as I record this, they're forecasting later this week a chance of some snowflakes in the air, so we're not getting that far away from a scene like this. So there's several things to consider when choosing classes for any semester, but in particular for you and this upcoming winter semester. You certainly want to consider the requirements for your degree. Will those classes transfer on to a university? Many of you have expressed the idea that you guys want to go on to a four-year school. You want to consider what classes do you need to be able to take additional classes, and those are called prerequisites. For example, you need to complete English 101 before you can take English 102. So you need to want to try to get some of your prerequisite classes out of the way. Some of you may have high school graduation requirements that you need to complete with one or two college classes. And also, you just want to pick classes that you would enjoy or are interested in. There's value in that, and hopefully you can find those classes that you enjoy that also meet other requirements. But not every class is always going to meet every one of these things to consider, but you really should think about that one. Don't just take a class because your friend is taking the class. So what do you need to earn an SC4 degree? Okay, we talked about that, and we talk about, at the end of the 3 years that you hopefully will be walking across the stage at McMorran Arena in your SC4, your St. Clair County Community College cap and gown, and getting your associate degree. So here are the following requirements for the degree. You must complete the specific associate degree program requirements as listed in the catalog. Okay, we'll show you about that. You must complete a minimum of 62 credit hours of 100 level or higher courses with a GPA of 2.0 or above. Now, the grade point average is a cumulative average, so you can get a low grade in a class. A D is a 1.0 grade point average, if you will. That's okay. It still makes sense to complete that class even if you're not going to hit the C level or the 2.0 level. But overall, you need to be at 2.0 or above by the time you're done. They also say you must complete a minimum of 18 credit hours at SC4, but that's not hard to do because you're starting out at SC4, and basically all your credits are going to be SC4 credits. So the key things you're looking for is 62 credit hours at courses that are 100 level or higher. So courses such as Math 075, or English 050, those credits don't count towards the 62 that you need. So we need to keep that in mind. When picking classes, consider the requirements for your degree. Okay, that's one of the things we've talked about. We'll get back to the different types of degrees. We're not going to talk about every one in detail, but enough where you get an idea, and then you can meet with us in particular to check on specifics. For the transferability part now, we talked about that as something you might want to check on. There's something called the Michigan Transfer Network, and I'm going to go to that site in just a second. There's also another, I guess, goal you want to achieve here, and that is to meet the requirements for what's called the Michigan Transfer Agreement. The MTA, as it's called, is a set of classes that if you complete courses at St. Clair County Community College that fulfill those requirements, then basically any other college or university in the state of Michigan will say, okay, you don't need to take our general ed requirements. You've met those at SC4. So it gives you more freedom, and it's going to save you time and money to get the MTA done. And the other thing to do, and I'm going to go back to the Michigan Transfer Network in a second, but is check out the university website where you want to attend. So if you're thinking, for example, of going to Oakland University to become a journalism major, then you really want to go to Oakland University's site. Sometimes they have transfer guides that are particular to the university and the program, so it'll tell you exactly what you should take at SC4 that will transfer to a journalism degree at Oakland University. Okay, but so we can help with that as well. There's a lot to consider, but let's go to the Michigan Transfer Network. As I click this, hopefully it will bring up this site. So here it is, and initially, just because you're starting right now with this process, I recommend clicking on this right over here where it says search by the transferring institution. In other words, where you're coming from, okay? You're going to be coming from SC4, so let's click on that. Now, if I'm thinking of taking a class such as Biology 100, Introduction to Biology, under Transferring Institution, I'm going to scroll down till I find St. Clair County Community College. All the schools listed here are schools, colleges, and universities in the state of Michigan. Okay, so I click on St. Clair County Community College. Now I'm going to find Bio. That's the subject of biology, of course. I'm going to scroll down. There's Bio. And it now populates the courses that SC4 offers or has offered in the past. So you may see some numbers that aren't even out there anymore. But I'm going to click on Bio 100, which they are still offering, and I'm going to click Search. I'm going to leave this at all institutions. I want to see if this is a good class that will likely transfer to universities. Now, the more schools that show up on the right, the more likely Bio 100 is going to transfer to any college or university that I attend in Michigan, but also outside of Michigan. So on the left side of the screen, you're always going to see this blue St. Clair County Community College because that's the Bio 100 course we're taking. But then when you look over to the right, like at the College for Creative Studies, you can see whether or not they would give you credits for that class. And you can see that they would. It will transfer to CCS as something DNS, whatever their code is, 300. Basically, it's a natural science elective. So it doesn't transfer specifically as biology, but it does if you look at Eastern Michigan. It says it will transfer as Bio 105, Introduction to Biology for non-majors, and it's worth 4 credits. Okay? So as I scroll down, I see Ferris State, Grand Valley State, some community colleges, Kettering University, Lake Superior State, and even Michigan State University. So in this case, you know, it's early in the process, but if you chose to take Bio 100, you could be pretty well assured that that's going to transfer to a university. It's also part of the Michigan Transfer Agreement requirements, so it's going to help you in that regard as well. Okay, so that's one tool. If you're not sure, you know, put it in here and see how many different schools, and in particular, if you know 1 or 2 schools that you're interested in, see if those schools show up on the list. And if you're not sure how to use the tools, see one of us. We'll be glad to help. Okay, so a couple of things we've looked at. The requirements for your degree, we will get back to that, and then transferability, will it transfer? The other thing we talked about is the SC4 advisors are really the experts on transferability. They've been helping students transfer from SC4 to universities for years and years and years. So schedule an appointment to talk to an SC4 advisor also to make sure that the courses you're taking will transfer. So the next thing is prerequisites that you might need, and they're often called the prereqs. So someone might say, have you met the prereqs? A prerequisite is a class you must take or criteria you must meet before you can register for another class. And as I mentioned the example, English 101 must be completed before English 102, same as Business 221 before Business 222. You'll see prerequisites listed under the course description in the catalog, and I'm going to show you really quickly some examples of that. So I'm going to exit out of here again. We're going to go back to, I'm going to go to SC4's website, okay, sc4.edu. Now if I scroll to the bottom, I'm going to choose the catalog. Okay, so I'm clicking on catalog, and now I'm in their online catalog. Off to the left, you'll see where it says course descriptions. I'm going to click on that. Now this will give me a list of all the courses SC4 offers, not necessarily every semester, but ones that they've offered or are offering, at least in the recent history. And you'll see it starts with accounting, and then it'll roll into anthropology, art classes, and so on. So if I click on a class, let's say Art 105, called Drawing 2, it's going to open up a little box that will describe the course, and then you'll also see whether or not there are any prerequisites. And in this case, it makes sense that our Drawing 2, a prerequisite is Art 101, probably Drawing 1, or it's called Foundation Drawing. I clicked on that and that opened up. Okay. Now, If we scroll to the bottom of this little box and we look for the prerequisite, whoops, you can see it doesn't have any prerequisites. So anybody can take foundation drawing, okay? But you can't take foundation drawing, or you can't take drawing 2 unless you've done Art 101. So any classes you're thinking about taking, check them out, see if there's a prerequisite. It's either another course you need to take first, or you have to have a certain test score on the Accuplacer or the SAT. Okay, so that's how you check prerequisites. Again, we're willing to help. If you're not sure, come see one of us. So we've talked a little bit about requirements for the degree. Does the course transfer? Does it have prerequisites, or is it a prerequisite that you're going to need, and so you might as well take it now? Okay. The other thing to consider is high school graduation requirements. Do you need any particular college classes to fulfill a high school graduation requirement? Now, we only want you to use college courses to fulfill high school requirements if there is a good reason. And some of those reasons might be you are a tech student. Now, tech students have 3 periods a day, both 11th grade and 12th grade, at the tech center, and therefore they don't have as much time at the high school to take their high school classes there. So they may have to use History 101 to complete the World History requirement, for example. Another example is students taking electives at their high school, such as band or additional years in art or foreign language, and it kind of pushes out the room for something such as a world history or your third science class or something like that. So either way, you must continue to take 4 high school classes this year and 3 the next year, even though you can use college courses to complete high school requirements, but you want to have a good reason to do it. Okay, so that's a 4th thing to consider. And finally, is the class something that you enjoy? You know, we talked about the drawing class, and that may or may not transfer well to a university. It might not be something you need if you want to go into medicine or something like that. You just might want to take it, clay sculpting, something like that, and that's okay. But just know going in that I'm taking it for a little enrichment, something a little bit easier maybe than your other class or classes, and that's okay. Okay? So now let's dig a little deeper into the path you need to your degree. So you guys are going to be creating, since you're new to the program, your program of study. It's your pathway. Students in 12th grade and their final year are updating their program of study, so hopefully when they get to the end, they've met all the requirements and they've taken everything they need. So what I want to do, I guess, let me see what the next slide is here. We actually broke out at the session, and we had students who were interested in different areas go with different middle college folks. Well, we can't do that right now, so I'm going to touch on each type of degree just a little bit, and then it'll give you enough information, I think, to get started. Maybe enough to choose classes, but we do recommend that you come in and meet with us at some point between now and, let's say, Thanksgiving. So even if you register for classes, we want to double check to make sure that they're the right classes for you. If you want to see a list of all the programs or degree offerings at SC4, you can go to this website right there. I'll also show you a way on the SC4 website to get to the list of programs. So if I go to SC4's main page, right near the top you'll see where it says programs. So I'm just going to click on that and scroll down a little bit, and it says to view a complete alphabetical list of programs offered at SC4, click here. They do group them at the top. If you hover over this, you'll see them grouped by various focuses, I guess, or foci. But A to Z listing is here, because you might be saying, well, I want to see what they offer. I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the differences right now, but you can see everything from accounting, business, a business degree designed to transfer well to a university, several different computer programs, and so on. Okay, so we're going to come back to this in a little bit. I'm just going to use one of these as an example to show you how to see what classes are needed for the degree. But before we do that, I'm going to jump back to the presentation. Okay, and this is how we broke out. But anyway, so So one of the requirements from that slide earlier on that talked about what you need for a degree, it said complete the specific associate degree program requirements as listed in this catalog. Okay, so that's pulling from that. So your question might be, well, how do I know what's required for a degree? Where does it say that? For many of you who are going on to a four-year college or university, you're going to use one of the graduation worksheets to help you keep track of what you need. So let's take a look at one of them. This is a worksheet for the associate degree in the arts, or the liberal arts transfer degree. I realize the text is probably a little small, but if you're maximizing your screen, which you really should do, I think you'll be able to see the wording on here. But in this case, there's only a few classes that you absolutely have to take. There's other groups of classes that you need to take 2 or 3 from that group, and ultimately those will make up your 62 credit hours. It'll be about 18, 19, or 20 classes, and then that's how you would get your degree. An associate in arts, just for example, is a degree. It's really the one that more of our students earn than any of the others, and it can be used to lead into a science focus or bachelor's degree. It can also be used to lead into, political science or a law career, law degree, business, something like that. It's pretty versatile. So I'm going to zoom in on the different sections, but basically while we have the whole sheet, you'll see these various groups, and some are actually a group of just one class, and the group number is kind of a holdover from something, the way that SC4 used to group them, and there was a reason for that. But basically, group 7 is the computer literacy group, and there's one class that they require, and it's called microcomputer applications. Some of you are taking it this semester, and when that's done, you can put a 4 here because it's 4 credits, and check this off because it'll be done. Okay. Others have a much larger group of possible classes. In this case, the humanities, for example, you need 6 credits. That's really just 2 classes because most classes are 3 or 4 credits each. And so if you choose wisely, you just need 2 classes from this, and then you can check that off and you're done. Okay. So things to consider for the associate in the arts and the associate in science, the transfer degrees, are to make sure the classes you pick are also able to apply to the Michigan Transfer Agreement. That document is also out there on the website, and I'll show you how to find that. Most of the classes, when you go to this sheet, most of them on here, if you follow this plan, are part of the Michigan Transfer Agreement. And if you remember, I said the MTA is a good thing to get. You want to make sure that you look at the math pathway so you know what math class you're going to ultimately need to get to. That also involves looking at what college you want to attend in the future and what career you want. So there's a lot right now that it's a lot to take in all at one time, and you don't have to have all these answers to register successfully for winter semester. So I don't want you to worry, but we're just trying to introduce all these things to consider. If you plan on taking AP classes, and you might be in an AP class right now, you want to know what score you need at the university level to earn credit and what score SC4 requires to earn credit. And we can help you think about, do you wait to take that class at SC4 to see what your AP score will be or not? In most cases, you can wait to see if you get a 3, 4, or a 5 on the AP test, but we can help you with that decision. Here's the math pathways chart. This is one example. It actually has 3 different degrees listed on it. Looks a little confusing, but again, we'll help you work through this. This shows a variety of pathways just for the one degree, the Associate in Arts. Off to the right, you'll find that any of these 3 classes, Math 104, Math 113, or Math 120, these will fulfill the math requirement for the Associate in Arts. Now, how you get there, well, it depends on where you start. If somebody tests really well on their AccuPlacer or SAT math, they might jump potentially right into Math 104, Math 113, and take that class, and they can be done. Okay. Other students right now have placed into Math 75, and they may have to take Math 75 and then go to Math 102, and in that case they could jump right to Math 104, or if you get to Math 102, however you get there, you could then take Math 112 and then use that to get to Math 120. So basically, these are all legitimate, good pathways you can take. They all work for the Associate in Arts degree. And there's also one for the Associate in Science as well. I don't have that as part of the presentation. Here's the worksheet for the degree in Science. One of the things you'll notice that for the Associate in the Arts you needed 6 science credits or more. That's basically 2 science classes. For the Associate in Science, you need 18 credits or more in the sciences, and that just makes sense. You need 4 or 5 science classes for the Science Associate as opposed to the Arts Associate. Okay. Most everything else is the same. There's a little bit different requirements when it comes to the math for the Associate in Science degree. Okay, so we've done this. So one final thing on this anyway. It says if you're going pre-med, make sure you're looking at taking the right science classes. For example, if you qualify for them, you want to be taking the higher level chemistry and or physics classes. Now this does not apply to a whole lot of our students, but if you're going to pursue a degree in high level science, biochemistry, physics, engineering, something like that, you want to talk to us about taking the higher level science classes and to see what prerequisites you need, there's that word, to get into courses like Chem 111, Chem 112, and so on. Okay? So if you spend a lot of your credits taking earth science and meteorology and basic physical science, those might not help you when you get to the university. Okay? Here's the math pathways for the Associate in Science. Basically, you have to get to Math 113 or higher. Math 113 is pre-calculus. So the math is a little bit higher for the Associate in Science. And then the Associate in General Education, it's actually a little bit lower than the Associate in Arts. You only need to get to Math 102. So the Associate in General Education is a full 2-year associate degree, but it just doesn't have quite the high requirements in science and math that the other degrees have. So worksheets for the arts, the science, and the general ed degrees can be found on this page called Scheduling Links, Tools, and Docs page, and of this website right here. So if you can write down tinyurl.com/SC4 registration, I'm going to go there in just a second and show you what you can find there. Okay, I'm going to link out to the web now. It should follow that link if everything works well. Wonderful. And just so you know, this registration page is actually under the current students tab, if you will, on our bluewatermiddlecollege.org website. Actually, this page is more the registration page. The scheduling documents and links you'll find right above it, right here. I am going to include this link on this page, but it's not there yet. Okay? So if you click on the scheduling documents and links hyperlink, it will bring you to a list of files, and for you guys, since you came in the year 2017, 2018, you're going to want to scroll down and click on one of these, and you can print your own version of this and start keeping track of your classes. Okay, so there it is, and you can print it or save it to your Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, but ideally you want to print it out. We have copies in the Middle College office as well. I want to show you one other thing on that page. We talked about the Michigan Transfer Agreement. Here, just so you know, is the math pathway chart, so you can see that. But also, if you click on the Michigan Transfer Agreement, you'll see the requirements for the MTA. And when you come into the office, we copy this onto the back side of the graduation worksheet. So here are the requirements for the Michigan Transfer Agreement. You have to complete English 101, English 102, 2 courses in social science from 2 different disciplines. In other words, they can't both be psychology. 2 courses in the humanities from 2 different disciplines, and speech does not work for the MTA. Okay, so even though you're required to take speech or theater 105, one of those 2, keep in mind speech 101, it's a good class and will probably transfer to universities, but it's not part of the MTA. So you would need to take, for example, history 101 and music appreciation. Those are humanities courses and they're 2 different disciplines. You need 2 courses in science, including one with a lab experience. Now, most science classes include a lab, but some don't. There has to be 2 different disciplines. So again, both your classes cannot be biology. One can be, the other would need to be a physical science one. And then it says 1 course from the appropriate math pathway. And basically those are anything from Math 104, Math 113, Math 120. Those all fulfill the MTA math requirement. Okay, so you can read more about that. So this again is a valuable site on this scheduling docs and links. There's actually a tool that you can use to help you decide what courses are good to take. It's called the SC4 Course Chooser, and it's really just a way of asking yourself some questions. Is this a good course for me to take? So let's say you're thinking about taking CIS 115, the computer course. Ask yourself, am I interested in the course? And the answer may be no, but do I understand what the course is about? Maybe you don't. You have to learn more about it. Does the course help fulfill my program of study? Well, for the case of arts and science and general ed, yes, you have to take CIS 115 at some point. Do I qualify for the course? Are there any prerequisites? For CIS 115, there are not. So yes, you qualify for it. Is it likely to transfer to another college? The answer to that, for that class, you'd have to check. Go to the Michigan Transfer Network. CIS 115 probably will transfer, but it may not to some schools. And then, will it fit with my schedule? So if there's good times that it's offered, that's a plus. And then finally, do I need to take it now? Because sometimes it might not be at the best time, but you need to take it and get it out of the way. Okay, so these are all just questions that the more whys you have, you can answer yes to these, the more likely it is you should take the class. Okay, so a lot of good helpful sheets on this scheduling documents and links page. Okay, and we're getting there, folks, so hang in there. The applied arts and science degrees, and it sounds familiar, but be careful, that key word is applied. The applied arts and science degrees are degrees that have far fewer electives, and you really need to be aware of prerequisites. In other words, having to take this class before you can take this. So to see what's required for an applied degree, you go to the SC4 online catalog. Okay, we were there already, and I'll go back to that. So in this case, we go to sc4.edu/programs. This is where we were, and then it says view a complete alphabetical list of the programs. Click here. Okay, and I'm going to use criminal justice as an example. This is an applied degree, very specific courses. Not all of them will always transfer to a university. However, Ferris State University in particular will take all of these courses as part of their bachelor's degree. Okay, so it'll talk a little bit about the criminal justice field and the degree, and then what you'd want to do is find where it says, and they will all say this, see a complete list of classes for criminal justice. In this case, there's a corrections pathway degree, and there's also a law enforcement degree. So I'm going to click on the law enforcement degree. A little more information about the degree, and then eventually you get to the courses needed. And so I would recommend printing this, and then you can check off or help come up with a plan. The college gives a suggested course sequence if you were to go full-time over 2 years. Now, you guys aren't going to be going full-time for 2 years. You're going to be spreading things out over 3 years. But in short, as long as you kind of use this path, in other words, these are the courses you should take the first year or year and a half, and then this will start blending into 12th grade and some of year 13, and then you would finish up with these here. Again, if you're not sure what the class is, you can click on it, and it opens up a little box. It will let you know if there's any prerequisites. Okay? So very specific. You can see there's not a lot of electives. It would actually say electives if there were courses where you could take just anything. It's very what they call prescribed. You must take this, and so on. But when you're done, you have a degree that tells an employer or a police department that you've taken all these classes and you've got a criminal justice associate degree. Okay? So you can do that for any of the degrees that SC4 offers, just to see, you know, it might be a little early, but actually by the end of this year, if you're going into an applied degree, you really want to know that. Otherwise, you can get behind in your program of study. Okay. Here's some screenshots of what we already saw. As I showed you, you can click directly on the course name to learn more about it. There's where the prerequisites show up, the number of credit hours the class is worth. Okay, and if you actually click on the little picture of a printer, when you, not just for the class, but let me go back one here. If I go back up to here, well, at the top of the page there'll be a little picture, this icon. If you click on it, you'll get a sheet like this where you can actually kind of plan out when you're going to take these or when you have taken them. Okay, planning is key. So it says, see a Blue Water Middle College Academy or SC4 advisor. This program of study sheet is a great way of keeping track of your courses. You already can fill in your first semester here, SD 140 and, for example, Political Science 101. And you can at least get 1 or 2 semesters out. You might not know exactly what you're going to take the last few semesters, but you can kind of start planning. The bottom of this sheet shows you how many credits each semester you can take. You know, for the winter it'll be between 6 and 8. You take 2 4-credit classes, that'll be 8 credits. 2 3-credit classes will be 6 credits. Okay. And this sheet, by the way, we have them in the office, but you can also download those from that scheduling docs and links page. So that's just an overview of knowing kind of some of the tools to choosing courses for a degree. But again, I can't stress enough making the effort, contacting the middle college staff, setting up an appointment to make sure you're on the right track. And if you're unsure of what degree to pursue, that's obviously a conversation that needs to take place as well. Okay, so hopefully between this information and what you get on October 20th or October 27th in terms of the actual process of finding classes and the times and dates that are offered and so on, and then registering for them, hopefully between all of this you can get a good winter semester of classes at SC4. Okay, thank you.